one thing that's interesting though is that often we hear in meditative circles that it's important for us to kind of maybe become less rigid with our expectations, our labeling, judgments, and various attachments we have to things, which often comes from, labeling something as good, something as bad. Um, and, so we hear this often in meditation circles about the importance of this and how this supports with, experiencing more love and peace and balance within. But what also has to be, brought into that same topic of like focus when it comes to, what we have to be releasing from judgments, labels, all that is also what we deem to be meditative and not meditative, right? So what I mean by this is that often we think of meditation as doing something like we're doing, sitting down, doing our meditations closed-eyed and going through a certain process. Um, and this is obviously a very important practice and something that I feel like we will endlessly all be doing to a certain degree. But what also happens with this is that as we connect like we have over the past many weeks doing these various styles of meditation where we're connecting to what is the essential nature of ourselves, meaning when we drop away everything, when we become empty of our identities, our personalities, our hopes and dreams of the future, our fears and regrets of the past, all of this, as it drops away, we connect with our essential nature. What is the most fundamental nature of our subjective experience, that whether or not we're running the mind or feeling or acting or engaging in relationships, there is still this substratum of energy or this essential nature that exists. So the purpose of meditation in so many ways is to come back to that true identity, to know that you are that, that complete, emptiness of all things. But what happens with that when we connect to that is that the meditative process starts to emerge into the entirety of our experience. And this is where we could say that this is when it becomes most practical, because we are obviously in a human body and we have human lives and we have many responsibilities and commitments. So the practicality of us being able to transfer this meditative awareness that we experience when we sit and we close our eyes and we breathe and all this into the moment to moment aspects of our reality, both comfortable and not comfortable, challenging, not challenging, etc. This is where it really takes things to a new level, where we start to see that meditation can be a consistent process, where it's not really a black or white thing. It's like it's either I'm meditating or I'm not meditating. Meditation becomes a never-ending process, and this is pretty similar to anything in regards to various forms of healing or detox or doing certain habits or not. If we look at everything like a black or white, it's either I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. It's either I'm healing or not healing, meditating, not healing, not meditating. Again, it's this very compartmentalized way of looking at life that puts a lot of pressure on us, because if we think we should be doing something and we're not, and then we're not doing it now, so we feel shame and we got to do it, that becomes a real roundabout way to just dig yourself in a hole. So when we start to see everything as just a product of degree, meaning everything is on a scale of degree, not a black or white, it's all kind of a gray. So we could be somewhat in a meditative state, even though we're not completely, there. Maybe we're still getting, letting our thoughts and whatever, but we still have a certain awareness as to what's present. Versus at times where we're deeply in a meditation, like we're going to go into in a moment, and we may connect with that deep space of meditation, so that level of degree has now just increased. Just like, say you're doing a diet change and doing some physical healing, or any other form of practice that you're involved in. If we look at everything as just these micro steps, micro quantities of application, then it's never really a black or white. It's either I'm doing it or not. It's just a product of degree. And so when that starts to be realized, when we start to actually embody that concept, that idea as a knowing, then it just, again, it everything starts to turn into a meditation. Everything starts to turn into a process of our awakening, of our healing, of our transformation. Life becomes much more enjoyable in that sense, because we see that every aspect of our experience in some way is contributing to knowing ourselves more deeply, even though on the surface it may not necessarily seem that way, right? So that's where, even with the practice of meditation, dropping all of the ideas as to what we think meditation needs to look like can be very helpful, as much as having very specific techniques and methods, right? So yeah, that's the message for today, and we're gonna dive into this in a meditation where we're gonna initially start with just focusing on the breath. We're gonna empty out, really get to that, knowing of that essential nature, and then we'll see what emerges from there. So whenever you're ready, we can close the eyes and bring the attention inwards, whether you're seated or lying down. And we're just simply going to sit with this moment exactly as it is. So just see right where you are here as you close the eyes, and just witness what is present. Where do you find yourself in the body? Sometimes we don't even feel centered. We may actually feel ourselves, our energy, our true nature, our soul. We may see ourselves actually off to the left or off to the right or a little bit back. We may not always feel completely centered right in the body, so we can just simply take note of that. And the various sensations that arise in the body here presently. And the moment we take a look at that, often we will notice where there's any tension, where we can just release tension. Same with any particular thoughts that are very strong. Just observing and watching can support in these kind of coming to a bit more of a rest. And likewise with any emotional energy. Often the emotional energy is found through tension in the torso region. So by noticing that, we may be able to give a little bit of a breather, open up a bit more space into these regions of the body. And as we've just simply come to a place of silently observing and witnessing what is present, we're going to move into the breath just to support in continuing to empty out and just clear any debris, we could say, that has arisen in the body in any way. And so we'll just begin by focusing on the breath without controlling it, just observing the natural inhale and exhale through the nose, keeping the mouth closed. And as you deepen into the observance of the breath, you may naturally come into a certain slow control, a gentle control of the breath, whereas a very slow inhale through the nose, about 5 to 8 seconds on the inhale, and a slow exhale, 5 to 8 seconds. And we'll continue with this inhale and exhale only through the nose. Very slowly, very gently. And we'll expand the attention of this breath where every breath is coming in through not just the nose and the lungs, but coming through every cell, where the breath is breathing into every cell in the body through the trillions of cells that are within every crevice of the body, inhaling through every cell and exhaling through every cell. So you feel like the entirety of your body is breathing, pulling in energy and breath 360 degrees in every direction, and then exhaling that breath and energy in the same light. And if it helps, there can be a convergent point of all of these inhales where the breath is coming in through every cell, through every crevice of the body, and focalizing right into the center of the chest near the heart, and then expanding like the sun, like light is going out in every direction. And naturally, we may come to a certain sense of completion with this. Some of us may feel called to continue with this breath, or even cycle through releasing from it, coming into a complete silence, and then continuing again from there. But as we do release, we just simply sink into this complete empty silence where we may feel a natural blissfulness running through and coursing through the energetic veins of your body, which brings healing and a natural calmness to the nervous system, to the blood, the fascia, the bones, lymphatic plasmas. And can simply come to rest there until you may feel to continue with the breath and continue to amplify that energy. But at a certain point, the energy may take on a life of its own, where you may not feel a need to control the breath, where the energy is amplified and you can just allow for that amplification to continue to grow and blossom. And in this space, you may have naturally already released from the topics of the day or particular themes of circumstances, relationships, or ideas that are prevalent in the mind. And sometimes these things cycle back, but we're just continuing to empty from here, where there's an intention of simply letting go, putting aside all of these topics, continuing to focus either on the breath or just this natural energy that blossoms from the center of the chest and the heart and expands in every direction. This natural love, peace, grace that is the undercurrent. It runs under and within and around the entirety of our life experience, and particularly here, our body, our anatomy. It is that fundamental, essential nature of our creation, meaning everything that we perceive from our subjective viewpoint has been created from this original love, this original source. And thus, from this vantage point, everything that is perceived or acknowledged as an experience in one's life can be recognized as a further expression and remembrance of this love. That no matter how anything is appearing on the surface, it is always a part of this same one fabric and is made from this same original source of love. So, from this vantage point, connected to this pure and silent love, we'll be given some time here to just simply explore potentially our body or the reality that we experience day to day, certain topics, relationships, where we can further uncover this love within these topics. Or if there's a particular region of the body that we'd like to bring this love to, different organs or parts of the body or wherever really, then that can be the focus of attention. But if we consider for a moment that the expression of our day-to-day life and our interactions and what we call the external world is actually also part of our wider anatomy, then we can see that we are exploring the entirety of our creation, both internal and external, and uncovering and revealing and intending on experiencing this direct connection to love in all of these various topics or objects of attention. So this will be vastly different for each of us, but we can just in silence explore naturally without stretching or striving or needing to look for anything, just whatever naturally arises in the space. And so some of us may be endlessly exploring various things where we'd like to focus this love and attention upon. At any point in which you feel you've lost a particular focus or there's a natural sense of completion, then there can be a return to that point in the heart which you may have never left. And also potentially a return to the breath, a very slow inhale through the nose, expanding through every cell in the body, and then a natural exhale through the nose very slowly. And so for those who feel a sense of completion here, that may naturally conclude this and we can open the eyes. Some of us may feel called to continue to deepen. As always, as you're connected into this love field and this inner truth, then there would be a natural recommendation or intention to continue to bask in this energy for as long as possible. Just like you would, want to enjoy a day at the spa or anything that feels very comfortable. Obviously, we like to kind of bask in that for a period of time. But we could say also that it's not so natural or it doesn't feel so natural or common in the modern world due to the fixation and focus on the need to attain or achieve some goal, or make money or do all the things that we think we need to do. And often, even as we've deepened into some meditation, we may be very wrapped up in a myriad of responsibilities and commitments that we may not even feel aligned with, but due to the nature of the practicalities of that, we may feel very obliged to it. So meditation is kind of takes a second or third, or certainly not first place in regards to the amount of time and energy we're going to put into it. But over time, it may shift. I know for myself, it did. Meditation became the primary focus of my day. And that is when everything changed. So we have to be willing to kind of face the fears of letting go of a lot of things that we think are important, so that we can really feel into and experience the bounty of benefits that come from these teachings that have existed for a very, very long time. Neo is saying hello. Neo's my dog. There was something I wanted to mention. Oh, yes. So this is, it's related obviously to today because I'm sharing it, but it's kind of, it's, we don't talk about it as often here, but our body's made up about 70% water. And water and hydration is one of the most important elements of our well-being and our health. And so when we think about the waters that run through our body, we have various waters, but the main one is lymphatic fluid and blood. And the Western culture puts a lot of emphasis on the importance of blood and blood tests and blood health and all of that, which is of course important. But it is the drainage system, which is the lymphatic, which is the sewage system of our body, that is equally, if not more important in regards to what our health is looking like. And so regardless of that, we have much water in our body. And water is a very interesting element because it takes the energies, it's influenced by energy, it's influenced by intention, it's influenced by sound. Many of you may be familiar with the Dr. Emoto studies. You can go look that up, Dr. Emoto. He's passed now, but he did many studies on the effects of intention and vibration on water molecules and how water molecules will physically change depending on the vibrational energy that it is around. And so when we look at the body being 70% water or more, when we're experiencing these states, even just a little bit of feeling of peace, of love, of blissfulness, this is physically changing the health of your body because you are infusing the intention of this energy that you're feeling into every cell of the body, and each cell of the body holds water. And then of course you're affecting the blood that's flowing through your veins, the lymphatic fluid that's flowing throughout. Everything that holds any amount of water is being affected. I mean, the entirety of your body is being affected. It's just that water is a real conductor of this energy. It's very powerful in that regard. So it's just it's a nice reminder. I was getting that visual very clearly that we're in a constant state of regeneration. The body's constantly looking to regenerate itself and heal. And so the more that we experience these feeling states, these frequencies, these vibrational experiences of love, peace, this vitality. Like I've always said, the longer you bask in that, you're charging up your whole body. It's like if you were going in a healing bed, like you see these in the movies or whatever. You sit in a healing bed, and the healing bed is like healing you all over, or I don't know, a float tank or something like this. These things are kind of a good example of the charging station for the human, but we don't really need the technology for that. We are the technology. Every piece of technology on the planet is made as a reflection of the capabilities of the human body. So when we understand that, and we understand that the longer we rest in that these states of energy, and like I said, it's not just like the 30 minutes of us sitting. We carry that throughout the day. We recognize that energy we're carrying throughout the day is what's influencing our health, our immunity, our ability to heal. So that's where everything in regards to external threats, we have many of them, it seems, these days, of potential things that can harm us and cause harm to the health. These become far less of a topic, really. There's nothing really to say about them because we determine what it is that's going to be causing harm to the body or not. And the primary, the number one cause of distress in the body, disease, illness of all types, is fear. Lower vibrational energy that stays stagnant for too long. It's like a swamp. That's essentially what it is, right? So we have to have fluidity in the body, lymphatic, the blood, all of it needs to be moving nicely. So now, it's sunny, the elements are going, we can get out into nature, we can, do some detox periods so that the lymphatic can get moving, all the detox pathways on the physical level, but also in the energetics. Like that breathing exercise is so valuable. I mean, we do it all the time, but I can't stress enough how powerful that practice is, just that. And that continues to open the doorways to the energetics of our anatomy. So that's all for today. Hope that is crystal clear, because it's quite important in these times. Yeah, I feel that's all. Deep love to each of you. I will see you next Wednesday, if not, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And enjoy the rest of your day.